Welcome to UNMUZZLED Chat. Can we embody just that for today's episode? Not just today's episode. Every day from here on out for the rest of our lives. To be unmuzzled. Censorship is already running rampant, as we all know, and how extremely dangerous that is. Yes, there are rulers that are pulling the strings that don't want you to know a lot of things, and that's for good reason. Their very lives would be at stake if they got fully exposed. And yes, they effectively want you to stay in the box that they have created for you. They have invested gravely to put you into this box from many different angles, and we'll dive into it. Yes, from even our upbringing and education system. We'll bring the receipts. But it's wild as I sit back and try to assess the clearest path forward out of this debacle we find ourselves in this demoralized, devastated state we live in. It's not just our nation that's crumbling before our eyes. It's the world. And it's being done through these globalists, the few. And I'm just scratching my head as to why the masses, billions of people, are allowing the few to rule over us. It blows my mind. Does it boil down to sheer ignorance? Does it boil down to sheer selfishness? What I believe it boils down to is how effective evil has been for decades and decades and decades of diminishing, in a way, our resilience, or diminishing, how do we put it? Our abilities, our general health as a whole. That's what I believe it boils down to. And I had this light bulb moment just the other day. Shout out to Christina. We're going to be singing her praises. We're going to be singing her praises this episode. Because not only do I find her as a leading example to what we all can achieve, but that she has in fact found huge parts of the solutions for all of us to upping our resilience, which is going to lead to a higher quality of health and life. And who doesn't want to experience a better life while we're here? We're all visiting and we all have a finite amount of time. And it is time we all take that serious. And it's so wild for me personally, even to reflect back mere months ago. Why is it we become our illness, become our disease, and we just accept the diminished state we're just stewing in, we're living in? It's like the rulers have concocted the perfect mixture of brainwashing, demoralization, illness, disease, biowarfare, frequency warfare, to where we're just not aware, and for those that are aware are too diminished to care. So I believe our greatest solution is to tap into the why we're here, biblical truths, seeking that guidance, but basically getting back to the natural state of things and as God intended. And we all got to eat some humble pie in a huge way to effectively acknowledge everything that's been taking place and how we've become duped, brainwashed, and that simply we are not functioning at 100%. So an example of this that became very clear, before I dive into the example, to go over a bit about today's episode, oh my gosh. Thank you, Tucker Carlson. He had an amazing guest on, bringing to light not just biowarfare, but something that obviously is near and dear to my heart on bringing awareness, but Lyme disease and the threat that poses to each and every one of us. Amazing job. We're going to play some of that, but also this breaking finding on frequency warfare and how it's being ramped up, and what a grave threat that is, and how that is impacting us on a cellular level. But what's amazing about this episode and what Christine has found is something to protect us all regarding these harmful frequencies. I feel that we could be checking all the boxes and getting a lot of the optimal percentage back, but we're only going to be capped. We're going to be limited to an extent with the negative frequencies around. So ideally, it would be nice to eradicate all that so we don't have to worry about that aspect, so to speak. But until that day, until enough awareness has been had to knock that out, we must protect ourselves on an individual level. So we'll dive into that. We'll dive into that moment with Christina and the solutions. But before all that, let's just play this clip I threw together. I think it captures something very powerful and how we're so accepting to the current state of real life and everything around us. So it's freaking crazy.
Let me get this straight. You watched Star Wars and you sided with the resistance.
Right?
You watched The Matrix and could see and understand what was going on and sided with the resistance. You watched The Hunger Games and you sided with the resistance. You watched Marvel movies, you name it, and cheered on your heroes with their battles against evil. Yet, when all of this happens to you in real life, like right now, real life, you are too afraid, too cowardice.
So many.
To even see it, acknowledge it, or resist it, or take a stance. Even when your very life and your loved ones and family's life,
Right.
and country and freedoms are at stake.
It's proof.
This is not God's purpose for your life. It's time we seek His counsel, His guidance, His love, and fulfill the very purpose as to why we are here.
Yes.
Enough is enough. Help us accomplish this. Support us. We are on the front lines. Not everyone needs to be on the front lines at this moment, but it is crucial we get behind those that are. We're doing much of the heavy lifting. Come over to Rumble. Freaking click the thing. Copy, paste, share. Help us get the message out there. Let's go. Let's make the difference. Our futures are at stake.
I genuinely get frustrated. You can see in that clip, I'm like, just like copy, paste, share, as though that is a really tough ask. Not enough of us are doing just that when we come across solid, groundbreaking, or breaking news, or patriots just laying it all on the line, very vulnerably or very just heavy hitting stuff. And all this just becomes proof as to the diminished state we're in. What? As if we're afraid to offend someone? Pretty sure our freedoms and our futures are more important than the flack we may get back. And we can respond to those individuals with love. And we can only just express our intent. Let it land where it lands with them. If they want to take more offense and, oh, you're just a bigot and you're the problem. It's like, really? Okay. I'm sorry to have ruffled your feathers, and then quietly, privately pray for them. We can't afford to be cowardice anymore and silent. Frankly, we just cannot. Here we are doing simple calls to action, and with those calls to action, we are gaining momentum. I do not want to diminish or discredit those of you that are taking it serious. Thank you. You are true warriors, and through this momentum and uniting, we will make all the difference. I'm so passionate about this. It's like I could hand everything over to God in one hand and be content with faith in Him and the big scheme and the big picture of things. But I can't idly sit by and accept the level of suffering that evil is causing and the effects it's having on so many, especially the women and children. So especially us men, we are to stand up, stand strong, and do what we can to negate the negative impacts and all this needless suffering happening all around us. All right, let's dive into some of the content, and I'll dive into the specifics here in a bit as to that light bulb moment I had with Christina. You really feel you've been free this whole time, like in your mind or throughout your life? Give this a listen.
The underground structure of the Board of Education.
Everybody's been talking about school and education. Well, in etymology, the word education comes from the word educere, which means to bring out of you what's in you. Schools don't do that. Schools give you something and you regurgitate it back, and that's how you get an A. Right. This is called the 1902 Board of Education Act, okay? The endowment was given by John D. Rockefeller and Andrew Carnegie. They gave $30 billion. They actually own the public school system, okay? And I'm going to read to you what their mission was. It says, prior to the late 1800s, education was private practice that took place in private institutions or through home schooling.
Sounds healthy.
That all changed in 1902 when John D. Rockefeller created the General Education Board in conjunction with Frederick T. Gates. Now, who was Frederick T. Gates?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Bill? That's Frederick T. Gates is his grandfather. So this is what Frederick T. Gates said. Let me skip. Albert Einstein said, never confuse education with intelligence. John D. Rockefeller said, I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. So at the advent of the Industrial Revolution, okay, at its inception, they had to create workers.
Did you hear that? John D. Rockefeller stated he doesn't want a nation of thinkers, that he wants a nation of workers. I believe he's done a dang good job infiltrating the education systems we've all been a part of to an extent or another. We have been enslaved for generations, folks. I love this man. Thank you for sharing this message. It's so true. It's like we're ingrained to follow orders in some system, and it's all by design, a deaded system through even the education system, that we now need to have jobs to support that, and it's all corrupt to enslave us, to end up in positions of inferiority, however you say that word, working for the man, 9 to 5, paying your taxes. We have not been a free people. Time to break the mold, break out of the box, rewire our brains, end up doing what we were made to do. Let our unique gifts shine and really attribute to this world, our community, and our nation. They have been so clever. This has been so freeing to even voice these things into the ether and think like this. It's where I truly feel I'm falling into my calling. As limited as I feel in doing so, coming out of Lyme with my cognitive trip ups and inability to access like memories and retain all this information and articulate it well enough to really resonate and bring people together and really create that momentum. I am my own worst critic. Frick the haters. Let the haters hate. As long as I speak to one individual in the most minuscule positive way, that's a win. And we all need to embody that and not be afraid. It's the defective wiring within other individuals that are going to speak negative on others trying to have positive impact. It's pride and ego that's going to try to diminish others as they're rising up. Fear among other individuals. Do not allow that to trip you up and get in your way. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the best version of you climbing the very tallest mountain, your mountain to climb. All right, let's dive into some of the meat and potatoes of this episode Tucker Carlson, I love you, man. Thank you. It was a gift. It was a blessing for you to move past Fox News. The leash is off. Dare I say his muzzle is off. And now he's really falling into his calling. And you got a muzzle chat support. You got my support. My gosh, brother. If you happen to come across this, sign me up. We are at your service. However we can assist. Let's team up. I'd love to be on your platform. We would humbly love to have you on ours. All right, folks, give this a listen. It's the true origins of Lyme disease. This is insane.
You live in certain parts of this country, rural areas particularly, you know people who have or who have had Lyme disease. And for some of them, maybe most, it's not a huge deal. You go in and you get a big dose of antibiotics, you have some symptoms, and then it seems to go away. But for some percentage, and you may know these people too, it's totally life-destroying. It's years in bed. It's agony. It's really the end of your productive life. So what is that exactly? What is Lyme disease? Well, there's still an active debate about that very basic question. Some have dismissed it as a psychological symptom. It's agony. It's really the end of your productive life. So what is that exactly? What is Lyme disease? Well, there's still an active debate about that very basic question. Some have dismissed it as a psychological symptom, actually.
So dumb.
But even people who acknowledge that it's a physical syndrome aren't always very clear, and they're certainly not in agreement with one another about what it is or where it came from. So back in 2008, a woman called Chris Newby produced a documentary about Lyme. At that point, it was becoming a very serious global illness, and its origins were mysterious, unknown. People whispered about it, but no one could be certain. That documentary was called Under Our Skin. Here's part of it.
Some infectious disease doctors, they don't believe in Lyme, and they said that I was faking it and pretending so I could get out of school.
Lyme is the fastest growing infectious disease in the country. 200,000 new cases a year, maybe even more.
It is a political disease and an economic disease as much as it is a bacterial-borne infection.
I would never...
That's Under My Skin. Yeah, that's way dated. It's over 500,000 now, recognized by the CDC. But in reality, it's in the millions because it's the most misdiagnosed, undiagnosed disease known to man. I could attest to that. I went over 30 plus years of my life being misdiagnosed. It was a blessing that I was even part of the few that got their positive Lyme diagnosis. And it has led to great breakthrough because we're honing in on the root of my issues. But what a blessing it is become, because so much of the things that attribute to my health and my breakthroughs, come to find out it could be the solutions for so many suffering from so many other things and achieving optimal health.
Never have thought that something like a bacteriological infection can become so politicized, the truth can be so brutally distorted.
I go into despair daily. I cry daily. I want to die daily.
My heart goes out to those suffering, whether it's Lyme disease or anything that puts you at that state. Going into that level of despair, that is not a psychological effect in and of itself that just pharmaceuticals and SSRIs are going to solve. When the root of it is a bioweapon literally created to have these effects. An SSRI isn't even a Band-Aid. And it is downright shameful that the infrastructure and individuals and so-called specialists are making these individuals out to be their own issues. The system, it's like criminal. This is terrible. To the state they want to die daily. This sadly resonates with me. I can relate to it. I personally have been there. Without God by my side, wouldn't have made it through. I could reflect back on many miracles that took place to get me through those darkest times. That was all God's handiwork. But we could save so many from going through this darkness with seemingly no way out that is leading to an egregious amount of suicide, and start providing solutions for these beautiful people. We must get on board with this, folks. We must up our efficiency to champion these things. Dare I say, we will end up such efficient individuals, and then we start fixing these world issues, we'll even have more finances to give to this. And it's hard to even imagine right now because we're struggling so hard that we can't even fathom being in that place of abundance to even giving up hard-earned money away. Oh, we could get there. We could achieve that state individually and together. What beautiful opportunity we have. All of us, each and every day. What can I do for others this day? We're not in that place. What can I do different? Sacrifice. It's not even a sacrifice. It's just opportunity. Changing what you eat, drink. Stop poisoning this body and your brain. Oh, God. So many blessings.
Well, when I saw this doctor, he said, you've got a long road ahead of you. It's not going to be easy. So that scared me. The unknown is pretty scary.
It is a national health crisis that is completely and totally being ignored and squashed.
Yes.
What is going on?
Well, you could write it off, and again, some have, as a figment of your imagination, but there are real neurological symptoms. And if you know anyone who's had it, you know that it's entirely real. So again, what is this? Well, Chris Newby has spent a lot of time thinking and researching on this topic, has been affected personally by Lyme, is the author of Bitten, The Secret History of Biological Weapons and Lyme Disease. And
I'm going to have all these clips in their entirety and challenge you to watch them. We're going to jump over to this one. It does a good job kind of grabbing some of the highlights of that interview.
Lyme disease are going up. The CDC estimates there are 500,000 cases a year. That's
500,000.
On average 1,300 people a day.
Where do we think this came from?
Lyme disease wasn't a problem until the peak of the biological weapons program in the U.S., the mid-'70s. These three freaky diseases showed up. Lyme arthritis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and then there was a parasite called Babesia.
So you have a cluster of these previously rare diseases right across from the U.S. government's biological weapons testing facility. Is that what you're saying?
This is the perfect stealth weapon. It's poor man's nuke.
It's hard to digest all of this. It's just so evil.
We can't control nature. Wow. And if we're going to play God and make these new germs inside ticks, there could be blowback, unintended consequences, and that's what I believe could happen.
Chris Newby, with all due respect, I do not believe this to be unintended consequences. I sadly believe it to be intended consequences. Intended biowarfare, intended diminishing of our resilience and our health. This has gravely enriched so many in big pharma. There's a reason. Why else would the CDC fight for so many years and decades even to Lyme isn't that serious. It's not a chronic illness. Only as of recent, they're now acknowledging it as chronic. There's only one explanation for all the sweeping under the rug and them running like freaking cockroaches when anyone comes around asking legitimate questions. It's intentional. And it boils my blood. So many are unwilling to even directly address that. The quiet epidemic, the under my skin, the monster inside me, so many of these really expose. I mean, even heck, more than that, the sleeper agent. He has it all documented here too. The rise of Lyme disease, chronic illness, and the great imitator antigens of biological warfare. This is stealthy war tactics, the most egregious and dangerous out there because it isn't getting the freaking attention it deserves. It's not common knowledge. People are more apt to roll it up as conspiracy than even do homework on it, as though their own lives aren't under direct threat. Blows my mind. How was I so ignorant? Well, I was in a diminished state. I wasn't functioning near optimal. In fact, I got deteriorated to a point my very life was threatened. I was more so on my way out. I'm so grateful for this to get the exposure it's getting. And it's important that we grasp this momentum and continue it, because it isn't just Lyme disease, folks. What they did with the bioweapons jab, this COVID jab, is similar tactics. And it's over long duration, so we can't really effectively acknowledge the Holocaust taking place. We aren't to sit by and accept all of this. We're to unite and put an end to this tyrannical, evil rule. So much to uncover, but I really want to get to the solutions. So let's continue in what will lead us all to becoming our own solutions. But another scary tactic. Humanity is under attack. And this is the same in the UK and across Europe. This is anything but natural. And I believe on this screen here is not going to do it justice. So this is a must watch that I'll title microwave must watch or something in the description. Click on it. See this for yourself. These pulsations happening across our nation. And this video is, I can't even put it into words as to how alarming it is. It's insane that we are subject to this right now, but we must put a stop to it, and we must find, and luckily we have a solution for us to protect ourselves. But let's play this.
All right, so I just wanted to document the continuing microwave pulses that we are getting hit with every day. And I'm noticing they are ramping up.
Wow.
On the 16th, they started at 9:11 at night until 9:11 in the morning. You see the pulse going from the east to the west coast. All right, boom, you see that?
Wow.
Those are NUKED stations. Each of those towers are 750 kilowatts, pumping out between 2.7 to 2.9 gigahertz in the microwave range. This is roughly the same frequency as your microwave oven, and it has the same cause and effect relationship.
Wow, it's not
This
good.
was 12 hours long that they held this pulse while we slept.
Why?
And look at all the other
Why would they do that?
anomalies that are happening here on the screen. Look at what's going on in Texas.
Literally cooking us in our sleep.
What's going on in Texas, all right? You see that big blast? Looks like a giant laser, doesn't it? Boom, see that? And then it gets obscured by the towers. Now they can add the Doppler towers with this. NUKED has like 159, Doppler has 160. Now you can consider the HARP stations. There's 33 of those, but they don't show up on this satellite. This covers the microwave range. This is a NUKED feed, all right? Now here's where it gets worse. On the 17th, the next day, here you go.
Wow.
Starts at 8:11 and goes until 9:11 in the morning. So they increased it another hour each day. So this is 13 hours we're getting hit with these frequencies. All right? You go to the 18th.
Unbelievable.
They start at 7:11 at night, going till 9:11 in the morning, increasing it to 14 hours.
Why?
If you feel like hell, this is a really good reason.
Right. We must pay attention to all of that. How have we been feeling? Even with airplane moding my phone lately, my sleep scores have been diminished, and it impacts everything. Sleep is crucial. Why is this taking place? While we sleep? Why are we being microwave nuked?
Look at this, man. This is insane. All across the country. Look at these.
All across.
Watch these towers and these
right
stations.
Here, Arizona's
this is not weather.
pretty
This
lit
is not
up.
rain. The light. Look. Did you see that huge burst coming out of Nevada? Hang on. We're gonna stop it there. Hang on. Boom. Did you see that? Let's back it up here. Stop it and back it
wow.
up. What the hell's going on in Nevada, folks?
That?
Do you see this?
All frequencies, folks.
This is insane. All right, now when you see the pulse subside, all right, you see that? What is left? We're still picking up microwave radiation. These are your fifth generation network stations that are all lighting up together. So you see how much radiation that is on its own.
Why are we being radiated?
Now we'll kick in.
Wow.
See the pulses from the stations?
Wow.
All right. You see that?
Look at Arizona.
How it's radiating.
It's not that bad in the northern territories, but it's pretty darn bad. It seems to be targeted selectively. I'd imagine as they built out the infrastructure, they've wanted to hit it in all states, everywhere. So everyone's impacted, but it's been built out first strategically where there's mass population.
From the central points, those are towers, those are stations.
It's crazy.
This is not a natural anomaly.
No.
And regardless of what excuse they give us for doing this, the cause and effect relationship of being radiated with this frequency causes serious damage. This scientific study here, PMC 7309322, if you want to look it up yourself, on the NCBI Governmental Scientific National Library of Medicine and Center for Biotechnological Information. There you go. Could microwave irradiation cause misfolding of peptides? The answer is yes.
Wow. That's devastating.
Right. Microwaves have been experimentally shown to affect the folding dynamics of peptides and proteins. Do you understand the significance of that? Because this is the core of what causes neurodegenerative disorders such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's, and Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, as well as certain cancer types. This is insane.
Yeah, it is insane. I don't even want to say, could this be? Because I know it's a part of what is bringing us down. So once again, you could sit here, you could be a health nut. You could eradicate all the toxins from your body. You could be eating pure things. But no one is immune to this type of frequency and radiation and microwaves. It's going to be diminishing your state, your mental fortitude.
Same. This is a scientific proof of the cause and effect relationship of what this is doing. Okay? It causes cancer. This affects the hydrogen molecule. It breaks the van der Waal bonds, which is the weak electromagnetic field that holds the double strand helix together on your DNA. All right? When you break your DNA, you get all kinds of problems, all kinds of failures. Cancer can be one of them. Neurodegenerative disorders can be another. CJD, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, is also called mad cow. If you do a search, you'll find there's a lot of this coming about now. Cows are innocent, okay?
Right.
The other thing we need to talk about here is this creates massive electromagnetic fields. All right? If you took any of the injections or the medications that contain any magnetite nanoparticles, such as hydroxychloroquine,
does it have
and such
nanoparticle?
You could be affected by this. This could cause what they call self-assembly, which is a fancy word of making the magnets stick together.
Jab, yeah.
When they get into your bloodstream, they will eventually stick together because they're magnets. But this will force them together with a magnetic field. And this can be used as a clotting or stroking agent. Do you see where I'm going with this?
I was asking, he said hydroxychloroquine. What? That's new news. Like, what self-assembly particles are integrated into that? That's new news to me. But the jab, yes, we know that's been attributed to all sorts of nanotech assembly and the fibrous clots.
This needs to be stopped. People need to raise their voice and the awareness and say, hey, we're not going to put up with this. There is no good that can be caused from irradiating half the country at night while they sleep. Each of these stations are 750 kilowatts. All right? Some of these fields are larger than the state themselves.
Yeah.
Just to put this into perspective.
That's crazy.
And they're pulsing it in synchronized bursts from east to west. Now, this can be used for weather modification operations as well, but I've been watching this for years, and I've never seen the pulsing like this. I've seen it starting with the eclipse, and each day it's getting a little bit more. And I'm wondering how people are doing in all these areas close to these towers. How many heart attacks and strokes
and other
issues are happening that we're not hearing about. Anyway.
Oh, we're hearing a lot.
I just thought
I'd
share this information.
You're just not hearing it on mainstream news. Thank you for putting that together. It says this is video number 2. I want to find the rest of it, but I couldn't refrain from sharing this as soon as I came across it. It's extremely alarming. Luckily, there's remedies and there's things we can do to minimize these frequencies on having that negative impact on us. And we'll dive into that right here. This is just HAARP is legitimately one of the scariest weapons on Earth. We're not going to play this in its entirety. Let's just play a little here.
The HAARP research facility is being used by the globalist elite to control the world's weather, accelerate the climate change agenda, and inflict damage on enemies, according to insiders who are warning the world that Nikola Tesla's death ray technology is being utilized by HAARP to assist the elite in their goal of subjugating humanity. The American research initiative called HAARP has been active since the early 1990s.
Yeah.
Although the project has a number of goals, radio communication technology advancement is considered to be its primary focus. HAARP is the world's most capable, high-power, high-frequency transmitter for a study of the ionosphere, a university released by the University of Alaska reads. Operation of the research facility was transferred from the United States Air Force to the University of Alaska Fairbanks on August the 11th, 2015, allowing HAARP to continue with the exploration of ionospheric phenomenology via a land-use cooperative research and development agreement.
This goes on, folks. That's enough. Let's get into the solutions. I genuinely want to find the most viable options for all of us to protect ourselves. Truthfully, the most financially viable, like we need to just eradicate this from even being an issue. That is what's ideal. But that's going to take some time. And we're just stuck in this place because so many don't find themselves too demoralized, too negatively impacted to do what's necessary to get to that place. It's where we gotta protect ourselves and up. I'm kind of feeling like a broken record here, but we need to take this deadly serious. Now, I get some of these products from Centropics just aren't financially a viable option. And truth be told, I don't even have the funds for it. But luckily, I've been lent some of this equipment so I can swear by it. And it has been pretty revolutionary for me in a short amount of time. Now today, I had the opportunity to sit with one of the reps that I'm going to be having on the podcast here soon. Shout out to Brandon. Thank you for being so gracious with your time and sharing your wealth of knowledge. I feel like a chimp. It's hard to absorb a lot of the just sheer gold he shared with me today and what Christina has as well. But there's a machine from an entirely different company than Centropics that scans the body on a lot of different levels, brain function, like even your chakras, your energy fields, your stress, your nervous system, just kind of the general balance, because we are energy beings. I could pull out my electric meter right now, put it on a setting and hold the ends, and it will put out a number. I switch the positive and negative, it'll put out a negative number. So we have a negative side, a positive side, a charge, everything. And it's crazy cool because even more than this machine and this testing, we could get visuals, and Centropics has done it, with like thermal imaging, where people suffering, whether it's scoliosis or just any issues that's causing inflammation through the body, and through one session on the cloud, essentially like the next version of PEMF, it's PEMA, it's molecular level, it's new patented technology, 50 times stronger than your traditional PEMF, which is just kind of competitive to just grounding outside. The thermal imagery, after one session, the inflammation basically gone. So there's another test you could do where after a session, you could look at before and after of your blood under a microscope, and from oxygen, and you can look at like healthy cells and what that looks like and what yours looks like before and after. And it's insane how much one session will have. And it blew my mind. After one session, this is like a 5-page report, but the increase on my stress index, 10 to 100 is optimal. I initially was at 163. After one session, I dropped to 62. The scatogram, I'll do a terrible job explaining it. We'll have them on, the experts, but I was pretty tightly clustered before and then nice and spread out in a healthy range after one session. Total power, once again, I can't really speak to the specifics on this, but I was at 1269 after one session, 2,878. ANS balance, 235 to 99, and the threshold healthy is like 35 to 145. So I was outside of like that healthy range, kind of inflamed state, and dropped down to 99 after one freaking session on that cloud mat. Basically neural function. I was operating like 53%. After the session, 64%. So 11% increase. My energy reserves in balance, the range is like 150 to 600. And I was on the low end of 198. Now, I could only imagine this would have been horrific in the throes of Lyme. This indicates a lot of progress. One of my roommates actually happened to test while he was here. And let's just say it was a lot worse. And this gentleman is pretty decently healthy. But my energy resources jumped up from 198 to 293. The electrical activity basically in my brain from 51% to 69% with more balance. The spectrum of the brain activity from delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma before, and this is during the day, my delta was fired up. That's typically what you want to see right before bed. And my beta was barely spiked at all. A little bit of alpha, hardly any. And after one session, all of it spiked up. Delta didn't really come down, but everything else. It's like my body responded really, really well. 66% to 86%. This is what's wild. My actual age, I'm 40. My biological age tested 41. One year older, which isn't that bad of a reading. Some test way over. But after one session, this blows my mind. I tested my biological age dropped to 35. This brings up a pie chart as to essentially the percentages I'm operating at. And there's a lot of room for improvement. And after one session, there's minimal gaps as to the function. Went from 60, 50, 50, 51, 86, 88, 64, 69. Huge increase. Departments of the human spine. 50, 50, 67, 46, 65, 63, 87, 82, 67, 86. Vast improvements. My biofield analysis. 55, 49, 47, 50, 50, 67, 46, 65 to 77, 68, 56, 63, 87, 82. Just big increases. I don't know if this data is boring you, but it's very powerful to see from a machine that is more so available to doctors on the clinical side of things, not even a part of this other product, giving vast positive results. True and tested machine. My mind's blown. Now, Christina has been advocating for Centropics for some time now. When she did this test, she's basically operating at 100% across the board. Like a perfect analysis. And my light bulb moment is I'm sitting here trying to, like, I need to achieve the, now it's my mission. I'm jumping around too much. See, I need to achieve that 100% to serve you correctly. So we are in the process, and folks are in the process because this cloud mat has received a soft FDA approval. So there's a CPT code that could be filed to an insurance. Now you just need to have a doctor willing to basically sign off, yes, my patient needs this mat. But there is a chance that your insurance will cover it. That is huge. But personally, I'm willing to make that financial investment. And I do know there's an option for zero within a certain credit score range. I think it's in low 600s to, 700s and above, I'm sure. But you can get a zero APR or interest for like 21 months. And there's opportunity to pay that off through its own product in that duration. So no matter what, I know personally I'm willing to do that, to get this ASAP, to benefit from this, to serve you correctly. This helps recenter the body, yes, even against the harmful signals, and get our bodies into the optimal state to fight whatever might be ailing it. So the testimonials across the board are freaking incredible, folks. Don't take my word for it. Look into it for yourself. I'm not just here to sell you on a freaking product. Like, I genuinely am elated as to what solutions this brings. Christina is a great example for that. Because as I'm trying to give simple calls to action, though some of you are seizing the moment and the opportunity and see the value, and you're sending this out, a lot are not. We have an amazing call to action, for example, with Patriot Mobile, to stop funding the enemy and fund warriors. That is a massive win with potential personal benefit, with a security blanket and privacy blanket. That is huge. And potential of savings, financial savings. Well, Christina came across it once we were affiliated and took that action. And lo and behold, she's saving. She went from $87 a month to $40 a month. She's saving $47 a month. But that's when the light bulb went off. I was like, she's seeing this, she's connecting the dots, and she's just going and taking that action. Why? Because she's more so functioning at 100% in areas. Does this cover everything? Not necessarily. There's the spiritual side of things. There's, I'm sure, other supplements and things like we could be eating and doing, because Christina isn't a health nut like a gym rat. She works out, she takes care of herself, and she focuses on eating good things, but no one's eating perfect. So it's solely for her to test out as she did. She attributes the mat, the cocoon, and the bubble. So let's dive into that. What are these products? So the mat is just like a PEMF mat. It's packageable. It's not tainted like those other cheap mats that don't even give real PEMF frequencies. that plug into the wall and have tainted electricity running through it. That's why this mat won't run as you charge it. You'll charge it and then it's battery operated, so it has its own clean frequencies. I'm sold. This is amazing technology. And there's packages where you could even get this one and a smaller one that is even more travel friendly. But the bubble is, I guess, their newest device that you literally could wear, put in your pocket or wear around your neck, that creates kind of a 3-foot bubble that combats the negative frequencies in your environment. You are exposed to egregious frequencies when you travel on planes. Pretty sure I'm not going to end up on one of those till I have one of these in hand. And the Cocoon is an electrical device with many different options on frequencies, but the e-smog directly addresses the negative ones. And I believe this is attributed to over 40 feet in one direction and the next. So it creates over an 80-foot kind of cocoon-like bubble to your habitat to live in a healthy environment, not being bombarded by all these microwaves and frequencies and radiation. And they've even captured other energy fields like frequencies emitted from nature in Hawaii that put people in peace, and then a relaxation one and a concentration one. And I could attest to this, that there's something to it. The technology is getting really advanced. So how these dang blinking boxes and towers and HARP and whatever other stations this gentleman was talking about, like the good guys at least are on the cutting edge in combating all of this. And what a great blessing. Now, I'd rather see, let's render all this freaking paperweights and address the negative frequencies from even happening, because these solutions come at a cost. Big money and investment has gone into this. Now, I want you to understand perspective on these things. Like, there's so many different lenses you could view it through. There's some frequency mats out there that are $40,000, $60,000. I know this isn't the most financially viable option for some folks. Now, I'm glad to report it's nowhere near that, but it still costs. And I know we're all struggling. So for more information on this, reach out to us. Check out the links below. Christina's an expert. I'll be sure to have her information in here as well. If you reach out to her, just be sure to let her know on Muzzled Chat sent you. It really is a two-tiered system, folks. There really are some evildoers in this world, and we've connected the dots on that. And I genuinely want to provide solutions for us all. I do personally feel like God is aligning solutions to keep our peace, keep our health, give us a fighting chance at living out our purpose in His will, whatever that is for you. Do not miss that opportunity. Let's up our resilience, because it's crazy. I have other people that have a bigger incentive, for example, to jump over to Patriot Mobile, and no action has been taken. So I believe the common denominator here to be the general state of being in health. Why was it Christina did and these others haven't when they had more incentive to do so? Well, I believe her chart, what she showed me, was proof. And I connected that dot. It wasn't like she was trying to brag or anything. She's just like trying to testify like, hey, James, like this I believe to be a grave solution for you and many, because she knows these threats. So it's been manifested. The rulers, they're a bunch of freaking narcissistic, sociopathic bullies. And they've projected on many different stages as to their plan and what they're doing. Alex Jones right here, dating back a bit, visited the Georgia Guidestones and dove into some of their manifesto. Give this a listen. It is proof. And we must open our eyes and acknowledge and see what's happening and take this serious to get our freaking country back and end this suffering. I love you guys. Thank you for seeing past me tripping up over my words and trying to hit this in such a way. We actually take action to our benefits, that we don't sit here idly by and accept this deteriorated state and continually just stay in our box and do the robotic thing, that we break free and live the life we're meant to live, enjoying every step and breath along the way.
And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. I want to show you something that's more than just an allegory. I want to show you something that's life and death for you and your family and the whole future of our species. More than 100 years ago, powerful robber baron elites adopted a system known as social Darwinism, saying might makes right and we should just go ahead and follow Malthusian ideas of forced depopulation. And that idea grew from just shadows, just ideas being promoted by ruthless men. And it began to turn over the next 100 years or so into something very, very real. And it was no longer just shadows. It was a real manifestation of an idea for a one-world government to carry out the orderly depopulation of the planet.
Right.
A brave new world. And that's where we are in the year 2020. All the planning, all the beta testing is over. And now, the Great Reset is here. It's a future. And for 80+% of us, we're not in it.
Right.
We're here at the Georgia Guidestones, outside the tiny town of Elberton, Georgia.
Venture to say, I'm not
These
part of
mysterious
that.
stones were erected by a secretive group in 1980. We've done deep research to track back exactly who's behind these stones and why they're so significant in the year 2020 and what the Great Reset signifies to every human on Earth. CNN founder Ted Turner reportedly funded the creation of the trust under the name R.C. Christian or Rosicrucian with other donations from rich benefactors that wish to build an endless marker promoting their ideas for the future of the planet and humanity. Carved into the face of this blue pyramid granite in the 8 great languages of the world, this power cult tells us exactly what they believe and their plans for all of us. And notice that R.C. Christian and his little merry band of depopulationists have a whole bunch of cameras, some in plain view, some hidden, that reportedly go back to the local sheriff's department, who's paid a tidy sum of money every year to watch and protect this temple to the post-human era. When you erect a temple in the middle of the rolling hills of rural Georgia, when you spend tens of millions of dollars over 30 years to upkeep it and have surveillance cameras and floodlights and have it repaired hundreds of times when it's been vandalized, it's because it's what you believe with all of your heart. It's what you stand for. It's your manifesto. We're about to go over what's written on the face of the stone and then look at the individuals that financed it and their other public statements. And it is something akin to what would come out of the mouth of Adolf Hitler. These stones are more than just a temple. They're more than just a manifesto or a testament. They are commandments being handed down to us by those that would run our lives. And to a great extent, do run our lives under the Great Reset. We'll cover more in a moment. But first, let's read the first verse. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Like we're pets, like we're a dog or a cat we take care of, or like we're a museum piece where they cull the population from 7.5 billion down to 500 million. I wonder who the lucky people are that are going to get to live. But they're not just going to guide how many people get to live. No. They're going to guide, like China's one-child policy, reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. That's a nice way of saying eugenics.
Yeah.
The third commandment, unite humanity with a living new language. The fourth commandment, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. But they will tell us what our traditions are. They're going to rule our passions, our faith, our tradition, and all things will be tempered with reason by our controllers up on Mount Olympus, our gods. They will tell us what virtue is. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. But of course, they will decide what that means. Again, everything in these stones is United Nations world government law put into religious type connotations. Like this doublespeak. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So you have a world court over you, but you still have your sovereignty. That's doublespeak, and that's exactly how the United Nations operates in its Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where in its last articles it says none of these rights exist if the UN says they don't exist. You only have rights when they selectively say you have rights. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. This is Karl Marx. The state grows up and is giant. It creates utopia and then it withers away. But it's always big billionaire financiers who are tax exempt and above the law who want regulations for them to be non-existent only for us. Again, this is all communist, globalist, new age garbage. And of course, balance personal rights with social duties. It's a balance, and they decide when you have personal rights. If it's for a greater good, you've got to be sterilized. If it's for a greater good, you got to be euthanized. If it's for a greater good, you can't leave your house because somebody might die of COVID, even though the COVID shutdown's starving tens of millions. See how that works? And again, they're telling us they're the good guys that do want to kill 80% of us plus. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. The infinite, which of course is bowing down and turning your consciousness over to these individuals that will dictate reality to you in the Matrix. And finally, the 10th commandment. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. In other words, get out of the way. I'm Ted Turner. I'm having 5 children, dozens of houses, millions of acres, mistresses, jet airplanes, yachts, sailboats, jumbo jets, helicopters. You don't get anything. Roll over and die. I'm the Guardian. I'm Ted Turner. I'm Bill Gates. I'm the New World Order. Their plan is called the Great Reset. Their manual of operations is Agenda 2030, a public UN plan in the name of world peace and stopping hunger that actually shuts down the world economy and will cause massive depopulation. Sustainability, build back better, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. When you hear these terms, it's all building towards a post-human dystopia. The globalists aren't just trying to get rid of the general population to, quote, save the earth. They are on record saying they believe they're going to merge in a new evolution with machines. This is a global corporate takeover allied with communist China on record. And it's no mistake that in the year 2020, they're engaged in massive censorship of anyone that criticizes the lockdowns, the Great Reset, the United Nations, communist China. This is authoritarianism making its move to break the will of the American people. Because once the United States falls to the globalists, there'll be no nation on earth to stand against them. This is the most dangerous, dark, satanic ideology to ever be on the face of this planet, and it must be opposed.
Bless Alex Jones. He's been ahead of the curve for a long time, for years. InfoWars. It's been a great blessing for us all. And so many have just ridiculed, bashed, and attacked him this whole time. Just goes to prove he's done a lot of good. And then they demolished him.
Pale horse, and it was given unto them.
To America. 25 ways the U.S. is being destroyed. In a warning to.
All right, we've played this before, but it's important to expose everything that's being done to destroy this country and put us in our place.
America. 25 ways the U.S. is being destroyed in under 2 minutes. 1. Open borders and illegal immigration. 2. Rampant crime in unsafe cities. 3. Mass addiction and fentanyl. 4. Election insecurity and interference. 5. The educational indoctrination of children. 6. The asymmetrical weaponization of justice. 7. The destruction of private property rights. 8. Inflation and debt. 9. The global depopulation agenda. 10. Record low fertility and plummeting birth rates. 11. Unaccountable federal bureaucracies. 12. Toxic food supply. 13. Vaccine and pandemic disinformation. 14. The transcontagion and sterilization of children. 15. Overprescription of pharmaceuticals. 16. Destruction of the nuclear family and parental rights. 17. DEI and the new racism. 18. Moral and societal decay. 19. The financing of endless foreign wars. 20. The sprawling surveillance state. 21. The centralization and consolidation of government power. 22. The destruction of trust in institutions. 23. The censorship industrial complex. 24. State media propaganda. 25. The smearing of those who challenge it. We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
America has been captured.
Folks, we have been captured. We are infiltrated. What are we going to do about it? I, for one, am not going to idly sit by and see us all get put into chains and irons. Nope. Fight tooth and nail. Freedom is worth dying for. 100%. And he touched on something there. Yeah, they want to genocide 7.5 billion of us. I can't think of anything more evil than that. The earth is nowhere near overpopulated. But what they're trying to achieve right here with those freaking jabs, it's so horrific. Give this a listen.
For decades, Ray Kurzweil has been an unofficial spokesman for the transhumanist movement. And in 2008, he said that humans would become infused with nanorobots, which would vastly improve the human body.
If you go out even to 2045, that's only 4 decades from now, most of our intelligence, of our human civilization will be non-biological. We're going to put this inside our bodies and brains. So we're going to become machines, but not, and if you say that, then people go, well, I want to become a machine, because they're thinking of machines as we knew them from the 19th century, which were much lesser than humans, and machines today are still lesser than humans. I'm talking about a new type of machine that's actually greater, more subtle, more supple, more intelligent, more creative, more beautiful than humans.
In 2010, he interviewed Robert Freitas on the future of
Playing God, nothing is more beautiful than natural human life. This is not our forever home. You tap into the spiritual, you know that to be true. You tap into the Bible and God, our creator, and Jesus Christ, our savior. You know this to be true. The fact that they're ruling out God and they view themselves as God, I can't think of something more sinful. There is a God, and we are not him.
Nanotechnology.
He's in us. He's a part of us, but we are not him. He came down to show us the way to save us. Why are we pushing that to the sideline to our own detriment? This is insanity.
Who said that nanorobots could cure aging and death.
Medical nanorobots really have the potential to extend human life more or less indefinitely. So what's your view about the role of death, and do we need death?
Death is something that is an end. It's an end to life. It's an end to progress. It's an end to thoughts. It's something to be cured.
This quack.
Aging
no, it's not.
Is a disease. It's a curable disease.
No, it's a beautiful process.
Is the cure for that disease.
He said that this technology is expected to be deployed by 2020 and that laws will be in place to protect the public from its misuse.
I expect that by the time nanorobots are deployed, which will be sometime perhaps in the 2020s or the 2030s, we will have a whole set of laws in place, regulations. There will be things you can and cannot do.
The laws were never put in place, but the technology was patented and deployed to billions of people without their knowledge in 2020. We know this because several independent labs have confirmed the presence of this nanotechnology in the COVID vaccines. And Bill Gates recently admitted to this as well.
Making the mRNA is really easy and really cheap, and that's the magic of this thing. But there's no doubt in the next 5 years, we just need to mess around. There's a lot of lipid nanoparticles.
Yeah, we need to mess around with your life. You're the guinea pig.
And some are very self-assembly.
Self-assembly and self-replication seem to be the same technology when it comes to nanorobots. And this was considered to be the greatest danger involved with the use of this technology.
Self-replication causes disease. Nanorobots are inherently much stronger than biological systems being built of diamondoid. So if they self-replicate, that disease, quote unquote, could be even a tougher problem than biological disease. So first of all, what's the feasibility of self-replication in the nanotechnology world?
As a general principle, you do not want to put self-replicating nanorobots inside the human body. I suppose not everybody agrees with me on that, but...
Wow, he actually said something kind of right there.
That is the way I think that we can best guarantee safety. If the nanorobots are able to replicate inside the human body, that means they're using some component of the human body as food.
Right.
And we don't want them to be doing that.
In his 1986 book, Engines of Creation, Kim Eric Drexler wrote about what he termed the gray goo scenario, a hypothetical catastrophic event caused by out-of-control, self-replicating nanotechnology, which consumes the biomass of the host. And this is exactly what independent researchers are finding. It explains the large so-called blood clots being found in the dead, and it's spreading. Evidence shows that the vaxxed are shedding this to the unvaxxed.
How do we prevent a terrorist or someone who's bent on destruction from creating such a self-replicating system?
There will be some terrorist acts because that's what humans do, unfortunately. So what we're going to be needing in this era of nanofactories is something equivalent to the fire department. Hopefully the incidents will be very few, but we will have an emergency regime which is set up to deal with that, that type of event.
But the event is worldwide, and there is no agency set up to put out this fire.
12.7 billion shots. 12.7 billion shots of COVID went out, injected into arms.
Are not even discussing the problem, and the perpetrators are planning a second round of nanobot deployment with another fake pandemic. If we the people cannot unite and stand together now, then what exactly are we? Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Holy smokes. We must put a stop to the rulers and no longer play their game at all. Stop paying income tax. No more masks, no more mandates that infringe on our rights and our freedoms. Let's put a stop to the carbon hoax and all this corrupt mafia banking system cabal. Just a reminder, the government did more to stop the distribution of ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine than it did to stop the distribution to fentanyl. Think on that. Let that sink in. We're infiltrated. It's so clear. We're just going to sit back and accept that. This is just going to have to make another episode. There are huge wins. I mean, we'll see what comes of it. We, the people, must get behind. Support this. Make sure the cease and desist order gets heard. All COVID vaccines worldwide. This is massive.
COVID-19 technical lead. These 4 letters were notice upon harm and to cease and desist. All of them dated today, 6th May 2024. They are now in the offices of the General Secretariat of the World Health Organization. So this is just to confirm delivery by Philip Kruse on 6th of May 2024.
Wow. Yeah. We must hold them accountable. Cease and desist. And then the military tribunals can follow suit for all the crimes against humanity. Now, my partner from Stand Up Now, what a stud. Gerard captures a beautiful. So let's end with this, maybe a daily devotional read. I meant to get this out last night. In fact, I did shoot it, but there was audio distortion and I just don't feel I did it quite justice. So here we are again today, but I really liked yesterday's daily. So we'll dive into that. Yeah, give this a listen. He captures something very beautiful here.
Because we care about our country. We care about our future. We care about where this is going to go and what impact is it going to have on us. So how can we put an impact into this now? And I think that's what everybody really needs to look at and see that you got to look around and say, man, this is not good. I can see through the lies because that's what the devil likes to do is confusion and distortion of truth and see what really is true and lean into it and try to spread some good from it. You know, I wanted to bring a point, just last week, there was that bishop that was stabbed over in Australia. And this guy's gained some popularity because he's very outspoken on issues in America, all over the world. And he got stabbed by a 16-year-old boy who's Muslim. And most people, everybody was sharing that. They were sharing the fact that he was stabbed and they were stirring up this anger and hate. But I dove into that a little bit because I think there's always more to the story than what people like to show. And as I dove into it, I found out that as he was getting stabbed and they stopped the guy, I guess the knife like malfunctioned. So he didn't hurt the bishop a whole too bad, thankfully. The bishop immediately started praying over this 16-year-old kid that was attacking him.
Wow.
Now, I could not do that. Maybe that's something that we all need to learn from, right? Is
divine
like,
intervention.
look at that spirit that he had. And then the bishop comes out and he makes this statement in full forgiveness and love, right? And so it's like, wow, this guy was just attacked, could have possibly been killed. And this is from a 16-year-old Muslim boy who has been told one thing his whole life. I'm pretty sure of it, and the bishop who, is acting in grace, standing true on the Christian faith, the true Christian faith of what Jesus would do. And I just think that that's so powerful that most people aren't sharing that part today. They want to share the attack, right? Because that's violence. You should be upset that a Muslim attacked a Christian, but you don't hear the grace of how he's handling the situation.
Wow. Yeah, I think it leads back to the idea that we're all just, hyper focused on the bad things that happen. But what you don't know is he was one of the most popular, I think it was Sydney, right? One of the most popular bishops in all of Sydney. He was gaining popularity, huge number. And I think the crazy stuff about this is not only how he handled it, he prayed over this guy, but how the Australian government is handling it. They have basically asked Elon Musk to delete the video to make sure that people don't know this stuff is going on. And the bishop actually spoke out and said, no, please keep the video up. He's actually in the middle of a lawsuit suing the Australian government over their censorship of this video.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because I actually listened to his sermon on Sunday and he speaks exactly to the Australian government. So let's play that clip. The first part is his response to his attacker. I want you guys to listen to that. It's just real quick, and then we'll jump to the next part. Go ahead and play this if you guys haven't seen it.
This young man who did this act almost 2 weeks ago, I say to you, my dear, you are my son, and you will always be my son. I will always pray for you. I'll always wish you nothing but the best. I pray that my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, to enlighten your heart, enlighten your soul, your entire being, to realize, my dear, there is only one God who art in heaven, the creator of all mankind and everything else that is visible and invisible. And I say with absolute love, confidence, and humility, that God is Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Wow.
But you are my son. Pause right there. So I know that would be extremely difficult. I mean, that's true forgiveness, right? I mean, this guy has a patch still over his eye. This was less than 2 weeks ago that he was attacked. Not only was in the moment, he jumped over him to pray for him, but to come back out and make this statement, I think it speaks true to how we kind of all should handle our life and our situations. And this is a true representation of the way that Jesus would have wanted a follower of him to act. I can say that.
But I'm glad he's okay. And then also think about it. He was giving a sermon. The knife didn't open. And then he continued to pray.
Wow. Gerard, well done. Folks, support that man. Check out his podcast. Check out his clothing line. Links are below. Now, I happen to be wearing our other sponsor shirt today, Black Eagle Apparel. Get some freedom merch over there too. But I love the God made as well, the man and the woman, and check them all out. Save some money, support some. These are the calls to action. This is creating the alternate economy we need. And embody the stand up now. Embody the disobey right here on this shirt. They're freaking awesome. I get compliments every time I wear this stuff. That's exactly what we need to be. It's much more than just a t-shirt or a hat. It's creating the right momentum we need to shift this tide. So May 10th, yesterday's daily devotional. Do not resist or run from the difficulties in your life. These problems are not random mistakes. They are hand-tailored blessings designed for your benefit and growth. Wow. What opportunities. Embrace all the circumstances that I allow in your life, trusting me to bring good out of them. View problems as opportunities to rely more fully on me. The defective man, which I've been, would almost take offense to that. To our own detriment. Trying to rely on self-reliance and not leaning into our greatest gift, our Savior, our Creator, the being of love. When you start to feel stress, let those feelings alert you to your need for me. Thus, your needs become doorways to deep dependence on me and increasing intimacy between us. Although self-sufficiency is a claim in the world, reliance on me produces abundant living in my kingdom. Thank me for the difficulties in your life, since they provide protection from the idolatry of self-reliance. Wow. Powerful. Few scripture references here. We got John 15:5. Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me, and I in them, will produce much fruit. From apart from me, you can do nothing. Nothing of meaning or importance, really. Because we're all visitors here. What are you going to take with you? Cool. You built a big corporation. What do you take with you? It's all for naught. Corinthians 1:8-9. We think you ought to know, dear brothers and sisters, about the trouble we went through in the province of Asia. We were crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure, and we thought we would never live through it. In fact, we expected to die. But as a result, we stopped relying on ourselves and learned to rely on God, who raised the dead. And he did rescue us from mortal danger, and he will rescue us again. We have placed our confidence in him, and he will continue to rescue us. Wow. That's powerful. We had Ephesians 5:20. And give thanks for everything to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm so grateful for this beautiful day. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. We got so much opportunity at our feet right now. It feels like more than ever before. Opportunity for growth. Opportunity for positive influence and change. Things are so polarized. We live in such a blessed time right now. It's black and white, evil and love. It's your choice. The more we can live selflessly, the more blessing and fulfillment we experience, more peace. It is freaking awesome. And I'm so grateful. I love you all so much. Let's freaking go. Let's go, Brandon. Disobey. Stand up now. Support the sponsors. Heck, check out Bond Charge. Get your infrared sauna blanket. But check out Centropics. Let's get these products to negate these horrific frequencies. The cocoon and those mats. I mean, the proof and impact it's having it's like a miracle. What a great blessing. God bless you all. Till next time. Take care.